Hello, and welcome to Daily English Stories and Podcasts. I'm really glad you are here today, and I hope you are ready to relax and learn English naturally with me. This channel is a quiet place where you can slow down, take a deep breath, and enjoy simple, daily stories without pressure. So get comfortable, and let me tell you a gentle story from my life. Last weekend, I visited my grandma, and even though it was a simple visit, it made my heart feel warm for the rest of the day. I had been busy for many weeks, so I kept telling myself, I will visit her soon, but time passed quickly, and I still did not go. Then one Friday evening, I looked at my phone and saw a short message from my mom, and it said, "Grandma misses you." When I read those words, I suddenly felt guilty, and I also felt a little sad, because I realized I had been thinking about myself too much. So I decided that the next morning, no matter what, I would go and see her. On Saturday morning, I woke up earlier than usual because I did not want to be late. The air was cool, and the sky was bright, and everything felt calm outside my window. While I was getting ready, I tried to think of a small gift to bring, because I did not want to arrive with empty hands. I opened my wallet, counted my money, and smiled, because I did not have much, but I thought, even a small gift can show love. So I went to a little fruit shop near my house and bought some oranges and bananas, because my grandma always says fruit makes you healthier. The shop owner asked, "Are these for your grandma?" And I nodded, and he smiled like he understood everything without asking more. As I walked home carrying the fruit, I felt excited, but I also felt nervous because I knew my grandma would ask many questions. After breakfast, I took the bus to her neighborhood, and I sat by the window like I always do. The bus was not too crowded, and I had time to watch the streets slowly pass by. I saw people opening shops, sweeping the ground, and drinking coffee on small plastic chairs, and it reminded me that mornings have their own quiet beauty. While the bus moved, I thought about my grandma's house, and I could almost smell her kitchen, because it always smells like soup or tea. I also remembered the sound of her slippers on the floor, soft and slow, and those memories made me smile without noticing. When I got off the bus, I walked through a small street with old trees, and the sunlight fell gently on the road. Her house was at the end of the street, and as I got closer, I started walking more slowly, because I wanted to enjoy the moment. In front of her gate, I took a deep breath, fixed my hair, and tried to look calm, even though my heart was beating fast. Then I knocked on the gate softly, and I heard her voice inside saying, "Who is it?" I answered, "It's me, Grandma," and right away I heard quick footsteps, which surprised me because she usually walks slowly. The gate opened, and there she was, smiling so widely that her whole face looked brighter. She held my hands tightly, as if she wanted to make sure I was real, and she said, "You finally came." I laughed a little, because her voice sounded happy and angry at the same time, and I said, "I'm sorry, Grandma, I was busy." She looked at me like she did not fully believe that excuse, but she did not argue, and instead she pulled me inside. Her house felt just like before, quiet, clean, and full of small familiar things. There were old family photos on the wall, a small clock ticking softly, and a fan turning slowly in the corner. I gave her the fruit, and she said you didn't have to, but she also looked pleased, so I knew she was happy. She told me to sit down, and before I could say anything, she brought me tea, because she always does that. The tea was warm, and it smelled gentle, and when I held the cup, it felt like comfort in my hands. She sat across from me and looked at my face carefully, as if she was reading my life through my eyes. Then she asked, "Are you eating well?" And I said yes, even though sometimes I skip meals. She asked, "Are you sleeping enough?" I said yes, even though I often sleep late. She asked, "Are you working too hard?" I said, "Not too hard, even though I often feel tired." While answering, I realized something funny and true. When we talk to Grandma, we sometimes lie a little, not to hide, but to protect her heart. After asking her questions, I asked her about her days because I wanted to listen. She told me what she ate for breakfast, what flowers she watered, and which neighbor visited her yesterday. These stories sounded small, but they were her whole world, and I wanted to respect that. Then she stood up and said, "Come with me," and she led me to the kitchen. On the table, there was a bowl of soup, and the smell was so good that my stomach immediately woke up. She said she had made it in the morning because she had a feeling I might come, and that sentence made me quiet for a moment. I wanted to say something smart, but instead I just said, "Grandma, you are always right," and she laughed softly. We ate together, and the meal was simple, but it tasted like home. While eating, she told me about my childhood, like she always does, and she reminded me of things I had forgotten. She said, "When you were little, you used to run everywhere," and I said, "I still do, but in my mind." She laughed, and the sound of her laughter was like music because it was gentle and honest. She also told me, "Life goes fast, so don't wait too long to visit the people you love," and I nodded because I knew she was right. Sometimes adults think they are too busy, but love does not wait, and that is something we learn again and again. After lunch, we sat in the living room, and she showed me an old photo album. The album was thick and heavy, and the pages were a little yellow from time. She pointed at photos and told me names and stories, and sometimes she repeated the same story twice, but I did not mind. I listened carefully because I knew one day I would miss her voice, and I would want to hear these stories again. At one point, she looked at me and said, "You have grown up," and I smiled. But I also felt a small pain in my heart. Growing up sounds good, but it also means time is moving, and we cannot stop it. In the afternoon, I helped her with small chores, because I wanted to be useful. I cleaned the table, washed the dishes, and fixed a small shelf that was shaking. She watched me and said, "You are helpful now," and I joked, "I learned from you." She seemed proud, and that made me feel proud too. Before leaving, I checked the time and realized it was already late, and I felt surprised because the day felt short. I stood up slowly because I did not want to go, but I knew I had to return home. At the gate, she held my hand again and said, "Come back soon," and I promised I will. This time I promised differently because I meant it more seriously. I said I will not wait too long, and she nodded, as if she was satisfied with that answer. As I walked away, I looked back and saw her standing there, still watching me. She did not wave much, but her eyes were full of love, and that was enough. On the bus ride home, I sat by the window again, but I did not look at my phone. I just thought about her small house, her warm tea, and the way she smiled when she opened the gate. And I realized something simple. When we visit the people we love, we do not only give time, we also receive strength. Thank you for listening to Daily English Stories and Podcasts. I hope this story made you feel calm and warm inside. If you enjoyed it, please follow the channel and come back tomorrow for another gentle English story. One story a day is enough to help your English grow slowly and naturally, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.